We are back with episode 2 of Married at First Sight. Of course, we are still deeply mired in the weddings, and we'll have at least another full week of weddings next week as well. This is becoming like a yearly MAFS tradition where we burn like half of the season just getting to the point where our couples are actually together. Tonight's episode, we got a nice little sandwich for everybody. We're going to start off by bashing one guy, then we're going to go into a little bit of the lighter stuff, and then we're going to end by bashing another guy. Starting off, we have Stacia and Nate. As soon as they showed Stacia, I started feeling bad that she was going to have to spend the next 8 weeks of her life with Nate. Like, as soon as she's on the screen, that is my first thought. And, you know, I genuinely feel bad for her because what we've seen from Nate up to this point is he is not a high quality man, and he is absolutely in no way, shape, or form ready for marriage. How someone like him gets through matchmaking is unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable, and very, very blatant that these matches are not made to produce successful couples. They're here to maximize drama, and that is exactly what Nate is going to do this season. You know, we get the first little clip from Nate, basically him saying that at no point in his life has he ever been ready for marriage, but today he is. So yeah, we're definitely gonna believe that. We're 100% on board with that. Nate's just screwed around his whole life. Yes, I wanted to use a different word there, but we got to keep this thing PG-13. And you know, we're like 2 days removed from him telling a stripper to get on her knees. That is not a man that you want to marry. You want someone who's your friend or family member to marry. That's not even somebody that you want your worst and most mortal enemy to marry. It's ridiculous to think that all of a sudden, you know, that behavior from the bachelor party is in his past now, and he's a new man ready for the next chapter of his life. Not buying it for 1 second. One interesting thing for the couple is we did get to witness the peak of their marriage journey, and that was before the wedding when they both gave each other the same gift. If this was any other couple, I'd be telling you how cute that was, but I think that is going to be the one moment that everything was at the pinnacle, and from there on, it's downhill. Even when we got to the wedding and they were going through, Nate's friends and family want you to know, like, you could see Stacia's walls starting to go up the longer the description of Nate went on. Like the whole freak in the sheets thing, absolutely ridiculous. And you know, I just feel bad for her. I really genuinely do. As we got through the ceremony into the wedding, his comments were really off-putting to me. He had one where he said that he likes the small waist comment, and just made him seem a little creepy and very superficial to me. You know, he's the kind of guy who comes across that he's going to be the first one to remind you anytime that you've gained a few pounds. Just very shallow and very superficial. And also, I really didn't like him directly asking if she thought that he was attractive. Like, that's 100% trap question in that moment. Like, it doesn't matter if she finds you attractive or not. Of course she's going to say yes. I really just did not like that. I don't like Nate, and I really genuinely feel bad for Stacia, and why she wasn't matched with Ben, I will never know. You know, for some reason the matchmakers equated what Stacia's done with her life and building herself for the future, with her goal being to retire early. You know, sounds very, very similar to another person who was on the show this season in Ben, who is living a very frugal life, you know, focusing on his future, saving up with the goal of retiring by the time he's 40. You know, that lines up with Stacia, not some con artist who's selling fake Louis Vuittons, selling fake t-shirts, pretending like he's some sort of day trader. No, this is not the guy to match with her. Just an absolute joke, and let's move on. Next up, let's jump over to Alexis and Justin. We got to see the end of their wedding, their photos, their first dance, and everything with them tonight was extremely cute, and I really enjoyed it. You know, they both looked genuinely happy during the photo shoot. So often we see that some of those emotions, some of those feelings are forced, and they did not feel forced at all with Alexis and Justin. You know, we did end last week with Alexis saying that he wasn't really her type, but we didn't get any evidence of that this episode. Also, really enjoyed seeing them go out for their first dance, and Alexis wearing Justin's suit jacket. The only weird thing for them in this episode was Alexis. How did that all go down with the celibacy thing? Like Justin tells her this secret, then she just like yells it out to everybody, and on top of it, I really don't think that she knew what celibate actually was. You know, just that he's chosen not to have sex. That's all of it. That is in the entirety of it. And it seemed like she was reading a lot more into that than what was there. Honestly, that's about it for them. And let's jump over to Lindy and Miguel, our third wedding of the season. I really didn't like that scene where it was all Lindy's friends, and it was during the dress shopping, and they really weren't speaking that nicely about Lindy when she was off camera trying on the dresses. I really didn't like that, and you know, always love the start of these journeys to be filled with support, and I don't really feel that Lindy was getting that. You know, her father chose not to be a part of this journey, and you know, the friends sort of speaking negatively about her. I want more positivity. Bring me the positivity. Bring me that good energy going into the wedding. Miguel, his suit was absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand this trend of the guys getting prom suits for their wedding. Like next season, we're gonna have somebody in the full baby blue Dumb and Dumber suit, you know, complete with the top hat and cane, because the men's outfits are just getting more ridiculous every season, and Miguel's might be the most absurd wedding tuxedo that we have seen in the entire series. There was a scene where Miguel's friends were asking if it would be an issue if his wife played video games and Dungeons and Dragons with him. And, you know, I never really thought of that being a big deal. I do both of those activities on a regular basis, and I do them all without my wife. You know, we have very little crossover in those categories, because it's totally fine to have your own hobbies. On Friday nights, I usually go and play Dungeons and Dragons, and my wife is usually pumped about that because that's her time to unwind. So I don't really view that you need to do all your hobbies together. Like, yes, it's nice if there's some degree of crossover there, of course, but absolutely not necessary for them to have a successful marriage. I really liked the moment when Lindy first walked up to Miguel and gave him that hug, and we all saw her make damn sure that that hug lasted longer than 3 seconds. That might have been a rule from her past, but that won't be a rule for her going forward. They both seemed instantly very attracted to each other, and you could at least see the physical connection being there immediately. Also, when it was time for Miguel to kiss Lindy, it felt like a full-on kiss, not just a little peck on the lips, which could be a good sign for them, or maybe not. Miguel going right into the Dungeons and Dragons had the part of the first conversation after the marriage. Maybe not the best idea. Like, yeah, you want her to know that you're into some nerdy stuff, but that might not be first date material. Hold that off for the second date. Maybe casually drop that you play Dungeons and Dragons. Don't just whip out a D20 on right after the wedding. Like, you don't even know her full name. You don't know what her job is. You don't know what anything about her, and just immediately like, hi, I'm Miguel, I play Dungeons and Dragons. A little bit silly. Morgan and Ben, wedding delayed. Ben has COVID, and that's all we got to say about them this week. Lastly, Krysten and Mitch. We'll start with the whole dad thing with Krysten. I just felt like the entire thing was weird. If the reason had exclusively been that she wanted to tell him in person, then I'm cool with that. You know, not a big deal. It's just, hey, waiting to have this conversation with you face to face, which is something she did say to her dad. But I almost felt like she was scared or nervous of what his reaction was going to be. And honestly, I don't think his reaction is going to be bad at all. We got a very highly edited little clip of cutting back and forth between Krysten and her dad with a very suspiciously different sounding audio clip of him saying, I don't know, without seeing his face during that edit. You know, we're getting played by production there. Yeah, he's going to be cool with it. He's going to walk her down the aisle, and he's going to be extremely happy for his daughter. All right, lastly, we got to talk about our bridezilla for this season, and that is Mitch. You know, he comes in, he's just taken a surfboard or a skateboard to the head. I'm not sure which. Longboard, I would assume, is one of the two. We're going to assume it's a surfer since he's a surfboard since he's a surfer guy. He's got a wound on his head going into the wedding, and it was all downhill from there. His hairstylist is there, giving him a little trim before the wedding, and Mitch was not pleased. You know, we've already got a bunch of red flags about Mitch and his unwillingness to compromise, his willingness to change, his unwillingness to be open to anything besides what Mitch wants. And on top of that, we're going to add in anger issues. Oof. How on earth did this guy get through the screening? Of course, this is going to end in a divorce. It's absolutely ridiculous that they'd even match him on this season, you know, knowing everything that we know about him at this point. You know, I don't really think that Krysten is the catch of the season by any stretch, but you always hope that these couples at least have a chance, and so many of them this season absolutely don't. I think that any of us could have taken these 10 individuals and come up with much better matches than what the experts did. The matchmaking it's just a complete joke at this point. You know, they're not trying to make successful couples, they're trying to make successful drama, and I think that this season is setting up for exactly that. All right, everybody, that is where I'm going to end things tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to hear from everybody. And until next time, we'll see you later.